This is Quick Licks episode number 5. Today we are looking at some gospel style bass playing, but within a pop context. We're going to take Justin Timberlake's Rock Your Body, the live version from the film The 2020 Experience, which is on Netflix, and we are going to look at a little lick during the breakdown. The bass player is Eric Smith, and the lick sounds like this. So let's break that down. We're coming out of the main groove that underlies almost all of the song. We're in the key of E minor, main groove, into a fill. Now what is that? Let's break it down step by step. We're starting with a pretty dissonant interval, which again grabs your ears and makes you go, what the hell is that? We've got the D, the flat 7, going up to a B flat, the flat 5, so instantly we've got a whole lot of dissonance. And then we're just descending a B minor triad, so you get F sharp, which is the 9 of E, D, which is the flat 7, and B, which is the 5th. And then from there we are just simply sequencing a minor pentatonic scale, the E minor pentatonic scale. So with most of these things that we've had in the Quick Lick series, they sound kind of harmonically complicated or interesting. They grab your attention when you first hear them, but when you break it down, they're often derived from really quite basic musical concepts like chord tones, chromatic approaches, or in this case, scale sequencing. So this is just an E minor pentatonic scale. The bulk of this lick is just a sequence to E minor pentatonic scale, which chances are you've played before. Okay, most of the scale sequencing things that you get shown in books or videos involve groups of 3 or groups of 4 notes. Now here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a 6-note pattern with the whole lick. Now, if you're playing a 5-string, you can definitely play it in one position. I'm playing it this other way because I prefer the way that it fits on the instrument, and if you're switching between 4 and 5 strings, it's a handy way to get around the instrument and to see the connection between those sort of typical 5 minor pentatonic positions that run all over the neck. So you could play it one position, and you've still got that 1/16th note anticipation, that low E, to get back into position for the main groove. But I prefer playing it more spaced out over the instrument, easier to translate that to the 4-string, and I feel like it fits better. If you're not used to playing the pentatonic in this way, it might take a little bit of adjustment. We've got a bit of pivoting, and you're putting a tone between your first and second fingers, which isn't that comfortable, but we're not staying there for very long. So the important thing with this lick, and indeed all the other licks in this series or any other lick that you might learn, is not to just stop at the point where you can play it note for note up to tempo with the record, although that's obviously your first port of call. You need to go beyond that in order for it to have any real value. So we want to look at it and see if we can see the concepts that have been used to generate the lick in the first place. The first of these is obviously pentatonic sequencing. Loads of stuff out there on YouTube and elsewhere about how to play pentatonic sequences and how to generate exercises. 3 players I definitely recommend checking out for that. Obviously Jacko, listen to his solos on Continuum and Havana, and also Port of Entry. Great, full of interesting pentatonic ideas that have become pretty standard bass playing vocabulary. Doesn't mean they're not really hard to play, but they are worth pursuing. Gary Willis obviously took Jacko's thing and took it up a notch. And then more recently, Evan Marion is definitely worth checking out. He has some very highly evolved ways of playing pentatonic scales. They're not really pentatonic, they are hexatonic, but maybe we'll get into that another week. if people are interested. So we have pentatonic sequencing. We also have, and this is the thing I want to highlight, this idea of playing a B minor triad over an E minor sound. So you're taking, in effect, the 5 chord, triad built on the 5th degree, if really E minor, 5th degree of the scale, B minor, and then we're harmonizing that. And we get B, D, F sharp, so relative to E, that's the 5th, the minor 7th, and then the 9, or the 2nd degree of the scale, however you want to think about it. And if we play that over an E minor chord, you get a slightly more grown up harmonic palette than if you just play your stock pentatonic scale and blues licks. And the thing to do then is to chop and change between them and see if you can integrate that new sound with things that you already have in your sort of bag of tricks. So if we're in E minor, we might have that little just descending B minor again, and you can get this sort of nice a slightly different colour, slightly, it's not even outside, it's very much, consonant, it's still within the diatonic tonality of this chord, but it's something you don't expect to hear. It's more refreshing, and it prevents people's ears getting fatigued by the same old stuff, the same old pentatonic stuff that we gravitate towards because it fits so nicely on the instrument. Our instrument definitely benefits from being symmetrical and pattern orientated, so a way to break out of that is to just introduce little things like that, little colours like the 9th or other extensions that break you out of old habits and get you playing something new.